Okay, in this video, I'm going to teach you how to quilt using a Brother SE400 embroidery machine. Okay, all you need is a quilt. I will say probably a baby crib size quilt will work best with this. I think the bigger you get, it's going to be super difficult. You can do this with a regular hoop, but this magnetic hoop that's 4x4 is amazing. And then of course, you need the machine. Okay, and you're gonna follow step by step. We're gonna get in here. You can see here, I've done one row already. This is what this does. So really cool. So anyway, let's go step by step and let's quilt your new quilt. Okay, next step is we need to get a run stitch pattern. Okay, so I went into Etsy. That's where I found the best ones. There might be some other places, but you're just gonna type in run stitch embroidery. I'm gonna get, let's try this. Okay, so you can see here, this is actually the one that I got, and I'll put a link to it so you can find it. But you want a run stitch, okay? And it needs to be a quilt embroidery design, okay? Now, I'm gonna give some advice here. Okay, like there's a ton of options. You could probably even put in just run stitch. Let's see what we get when we do that. So there you kind of get some names and stuff like that. We're getting the same one. I think you're just gonna have to kind of look around. Like this one would be cute. Here's the thing, like this one here, where you've got, like it all seems connected, right? It needs to either be the size of one block and you're okay with just that being the block, or you're gonna have to get really precise on your measurements so that it stays connected. I did not want to get that precise. This one would have been good too, because you know, you could kind of come in there and get it really close. I would say, especially if this is your first time, do it super simple. This is the one I got, this one. And here's why. This is the one I'm using on the quilt right now. But you can see here, like, they're just kind of random, right? Like, it doesn't need to be matchy-matchy. It doesn't need to be all complicated. So I would say, especially if this is your first time, something like this, and I'll put the link to this one so you don't have to go search for it. Like, this would be my option. And you're just gonna purchase it, okay? And then I'm gonna show you how to download it on the machine so it's saved. So if you have to come back to it, you can totally come back to it, back and forth. So we'll do that next, or just a sec. But something simple, okay? Especially if you're first time doing this, I would do something simple. I like all of these. Like if you click on these, like, I mean, all 6 of these would be great. I mean, you could get these really close by measuring. That one's probably a little bit more complicated, but this is the one I used right here. And I like how it turned out. I think this one would have even been cute. Okay, so, but you're just gonna purchase it, and then you'll get an email on, you wanna check on desktop, you'll get an email, and then you're gonna download the file into your laptop. This will not work on a phone, okay? Don't try it on a phone, do it on a desktop or a laptop, okay? So we'll do that, and then we'll get I'll show you how to download it and get it all into the machine, because there's no need for it to be complicated. Let me make it simple for you so you don't have to figure it all out. Okay, once you download your file after you bought it on Etsy, so I know mine's the quilt stipple, and then I know it's the run stitch. So I'm gonna go in here, and then because I have a brother, SE400, then I know that it takes PES. Okay, so now you may be like, oh my gosh, what am I looking for? That's what I thought the first time. So my hoop is 4 inches, 4 by 4. So I'm looking for, and if you right click and hit rename, you can see what the name of it is. So you can see that's the 3.5 stitch, okay? But we need the PES. So that's the PES. We're gonna right click, we're gonna copy, okay? And then on your machine, you're gonna take the USB cord that comes with it, and it goes right into here. Okay? The other part is either gonna go to your laptop or to your desktop. You're just gonna plug that in. There's a little thing on the top. Oh, sometimes these cords are like fighting something. Okay, so I've got that attached. Okay, so you can see the setup. We're gonna move this stipple over here. Mine says no name. Yours may say USB. But we're gonna, you can either do it this way if you're on a Mac. Now, if you're on a Windows, you can right click, click copy, go over here, open it, and you would just click paste. And because I've done both, then it's giving me that error. So I'm just gonna stop that one since I already have it in. Okay, so now we're gonna take this and you're gonna go over to your machine and you're gonna click this button here. And you can see it automatically send it through USB, okay? So you're gonna click here. Here's the great thing. Once you save it, it's in there. So you don't have to go do this step again. So even if you wanted to take the other ones you bought, like, you know, I bought 6, I could put them all in here. Okay, but you wanna do that. And then when you get ready to do it, you'll just click this, but we'll go there in just a second. Like 3, it's like right up there. Okay, what you're concerned about is if you're going this way, okay, and that's the way my stitches are going, then we want to get these close, right? And we don't want there to be a huge gap in the quilt. So you're going to take and you're going to measure this, okay? Give that number and hold that number in your head. So we're at 2 1/8, okay? We're going to divide that by 2. Okay, now you're going to get approximate. You may not get exact. Okay, so like I came up with 1 1/8. So when you do your next stitch, okay, you're going to line your needle up, go to the end of your thread, line it up. I gave myself just a little, and then you're going to line your needle up right there. Okay, and then you'll start it. And then that will give you to where you don't have this gap. Okay, I tried a ton of different ways. I'll put one video down. If you want to try it, you can look at it. It did not work for me. Okay, like they were like, print off the design and pull it up on sticky paper. Oh my goodness, that was a disaster. I will say, like, practice a little bit. Get you some back quarters. Make you a little bit practice before you do this, okay? Before you do your quilt. But I found this works the best. I took this, divided it by half, went to the end of my stitches up here, and then the end of my tape measure, and in the middle is where my needle started. Okay, and I'll show you a little bit of that so you can kind of see that, but this was the easiest way I found. Now, I will say if you've got a long arm, do a long arm. If you want a freehand, do a freehand. But if you've got an embroidery machine, this really does a good job of quilting your top, okay? You just need a run stitch. You can get those off Etsy. I wouldn't go super complicated. You can see here, this is my stitch, okay? And I'll show you how to do all that, but that's just the little trick. I'm gonna get that and do that. Okay, so I lined this up. So again, I knew my size and I didn't want it right exactly on the edge, but you can see here the magnetic frame like holds the fabric, even though like there's some left. So I wanted to leave a little bit of space. So now I'm gonna hit finish sewing up here. Okay, and then I'm gonna take and I'm gonna move my fabric down a little bit. Okay, so again, you want to center it however you want it centered, and then you just literally flip this up. Okay, what I find easier, that's pretty strong, is I'm going to scoot this down, making sure I center everything back up. And then remember, we took half of this, right? And so I'm going to go on here, literally find the top of my last stitch, and then my needle needs to start right, so I need to go farther up. Okay, so you're gonna put it in the middle and center that. Okay, if you want, you can take a fabric marker and mark that spot. Okay, so you're not having to keep this in here, but that will get it really super close. I found it was just the easiest, but this just slides. Your fabric's just gonna slide. So you wanna make sure it's straightened up, then take that measurement and go that way. So not too hard. The nice thing is it slides. Again, I wouldn't do this with a queen or king. This is a crib size quilt, so it's not so bad. So, but it's a great way to use your embroidery machine to quilt. Okay, so I've got everything lined up. So let's see how close I am. Let's see if I did it. It is kind of nice that it just does it. If you kind of get a string like that, you can leave it and then just cut it a little bit later. It's fascinating to me that these embroidery machines will actually quilt. So we're doing one whole cycle so you can see, like, you may be like, oh no, I'm not waiting this long. So those are the two connected. So you can see, like, I am, what, an 1/8 of an inch. So not so bad. And really, truly, if you're just needing an alternative and you don't want a free motion quilt and you've got the embroidery machine, it will do this on any embroidery machine. Okay? You just have to measure it and then kind of figure out. These magnetic hoops are so amazing. Depending on which one you get, like the snap hoop, magnetic snap hoop, monster or something like that, they're probably the best, but I really like this one. It's a 4x4. Okay, and it's done. And I'm just gonna repeat the process. I'm gonna move my fabric. I'm gonna center everything up. I'm gonna put my hoop back on. And I'm just gonna keep going all the way down. I've done a ton. Okay, so it doesn't take that long. The biggest thing I would say is you need to make sure you have plenty of bobbin so that you don't run out of bobbin. Okay, let's do the next round. When you